There are some customs that are very enjoyable.
Let's not get all riled up about this.
An occasional drink never hurt anyone.
Come on, fill up.
A drink in the evening is just about the best thing I know of.
So with that being said,
Cheers, brother. How we doing, brother?
Good. Can't complain, really. I noticed we've got a bit of a dark one on the menu today.
Yeah, so last week we did talk a little bit about Brewdog. Layer Cake is one of their stouts. I have had this before. I've had it before. It was one that I, again, thought that you might quite like. Cakey, sweet.
I mean, just having a look in your hand, and obviously the can I have here, marshmallow chocolate stout. Sold. Let me just grab my can here, bust it open.
I had this a little while ago, and I have a real love-hate with Brewdog. They were the original pioneers. They really kicked off the whole new wave of beer within the UK, as far as I'm concerned. And I went through a period of just not being. I just went off the boil a little bit with them. They've come back recently and made some absolute bangers. They've really, showed that they can keep moving. They're not all about punk, Dead Pony Club, 5 a.m. Sane. They can.
I'm a big fan of their double OG. Big fan of that bit.
OG's banging, the Triple Hazy's a little dancer. I mean, it's just really nice. It's really nice to see these guys. Obviously they're super famous now. They're all over the world. They're an absolute tour de force, but still trying to push things forward, trying to progress, moving with the times, developing, doing interesting stuff. It's so easy just to sit back on your laurels and go, you know what, we've made our money, we've done what we wanted to do. That's that. But they're still brewing beers like this, which are, they're interesting. It's interesting stuff, man. It's interesting stuff, and it's not they're just brewing it for the sake of it. There's obviously a bit of care and attention and a bit of love that's gone into it. So
there seems to be passion there.
Bit of passion.
I say on the description here, it says Layer Cake, a rich and decadent stout that has to be tried to be believed, layering marshmallow, chocolate brownie, vanilla, and cocoa nibs. This is a dessert in a can. So with that being said, cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In fact, no, you go, because I think once I say something, so there's such an overpowering flavor for me with this.
Okay. So let me tell you what I get. So for me, I'm getting a sweet kind of biscuity, like sweets on the nose. On the first sip, definitely got a marshmallow poking through, but I've got like an underlying like Parma Violet thing going on, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Okay.
I would want a little bit more balance, and I would tone down whatever that kind of Parma Violet vibe is going on.
Okay. That's really interesting. I see what you mean about the Parma Violet. I was getting a bit more sort of red fruit, raspberry kind of thing going on.
Okay, yeah, I can see that for sure.
Like almost like a jammy Dodger biscuit type.
Yeah.
However, the burnt marshmallow biscuit now for me makes it taste so much like a s'more.
Yes.
The nose, as soon as I got into that, as soon as my brain went, it's liquid s'more. As soon as your brain goes there, I find it really difficult then to detract from that. I literally smell.
Funnily enough, sorry to interrupt you. Funnily enough, when I took the first smell, I took it to biscuit, but in America, when we used to make s'mores, we used to make them with these things called graham crackers, which are it's like a very thin, crisp wafer almost, but really thin with like cinnamony kind of vibes going on. So you pack those in between a chocolate Hershey bar and some marshmallows, and that was kind of your s'more. And that like graham crackers.
Just say again. You do a what?
So we had these
cracker.
graham cracker.
You're saying the word Graham,
Yeah.
like the man's name, Graham.
Yeah.
Right. Not a grain cracker or a graham cracker.
A graham cracker, but a graham cracker. But not it's like a man's name, I believe.
Graham.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how you said it anyways.
A Graham cracker.
Hold on.
Oh, he's totally Googling it.
I have to now.
Did you not grow up in Connecticut?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm 100. Okay, yeah, graham cracker. Graham. How would you say that?
Graham. A
Graham
Graham cracker.
Yeah,
A cracker made by Graham.
I suppose. And so it's sort of a honey cinnamon flavored, thin, really like thin as a cracker, but like a wafer kind of vibe. So you take two of them.
I feel like we should be getting tax on the word cracker right now, but keep back on.
Yeah, cracker. and you take your burnt marshmallow, you'd stick it in with a Hershey chocolate bar.
Hershey chocolate bar.
Don't hate me for saying Hershey, because that's just what we had in America. I know there's better chocolate.
So you go cracker, marshmallow, chocolate bar, cracker.
No. Cracker. Then you got your chocolate inside. Then you got your marshmallow. Then you got another graham cracker underneath. All in the sandwich of graham.
That's exactly what I said. Cracker, marshmallow, chocolate bar, cracker.
Oh, you went the other way around. You went from the top down. I was going from the bottom up.
That's not how you do it in the States. You start from the top and you work your way down. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
you put your top layer of bread on first, and then you put your lettuce,
exactly.
and then you
figure it out.
But yeah.
Kind of sandwich in a. That's why the expression "you sandwich in a" whatever it is. That's Anyway, so as soon as I smelt it, I thought that smells like a graham cracker randomly, and the fact that you then said s'more is really interesting, because I was obviously getting that vibe subconsciously.
Yeah, amazing. I've never smelled Graham's crackers before, but what I have smelled is that chocolate digestive.
Yeah.
With melted marshmallow, pop, and then another chocolate digestive, and absolutely banging. But the amazing thing about it, or like with this beer where it really knits in, is that burnt edge of marshmallow.
Yeah, absolutely.
The little crispy bit around the corner of a burnt marshmallow is it's like it is smoky, but it's not smoky. It is burnt, but it's not burnt. It's sweet.
Borderline kind of desiccated coconut, or just desiccated. It could be a lot of different forms of coconut, but I'm saying desiccated coconut.
I love you so much, but
all over the
shop. You're just all over the place tonight, aren't you?
Hey, listen, I'm being so specific. How can I be all over the shop when I'm not even just giving you coconut. I'm giving you the type of process of coconut.
Desiccated coconut.
Are you getting any coconut?
I am, yes. But this is the worm, you see. This is okay.
Layer cake is. I mean,
there is an element of dark bounty in there. There is an element of dark bounty. I've never got coconut from it before, ever before, and now I'm getting coconut.
I'm gonna be real with you. I hate when people say that, because it makes me think like, were you not being real with me before? But I'm just gonna
I
let
really,
me put it this way.
yeah.
I'm gonna level with you.
Let me be
I
honest.
had
Let me
my-
be honest. Let me be honest.
No. I'm not. Yeah, because that
As
makes
opposed to the
sound
rest of the
like you
time.
were being honest. Yeah. What I will say about this beer is my bar was set quite low,
Okay.
and I think it's because a bit like you, what you kind of said about BrewDog in the beginning, is kind of my perception of them as well. You know, they have started pushing, and it has been good, but it's sort of a bit of a, because they are so big, you almost think like, is this just going to be a cop out of a beer? You know, and it's so and this is obviously, it's a supermarket one. My feeling was, is this just going to be a mass produced kind of dark beer, which is, I don't know, just like not particularly interesting, but I really am enjoying this one.
I totally agree. And this is one that it sounds awful to say, but I almost wanted to be more judgmental of it, wanted to judge them harsher or harder.
Yeah,
Being such a big company now and for doing so much and being whatever they are. And normally the sweeter ones I'm not a big fan of, but
yeah,
there's
yeah.
something about it. It's a lovely little beer. I gave it when I tasted it when I checked it in much earlier in 2020. I gave it a 4, and
Sure.
every time I've tried it since, I've sort of come back it with a clean palate and a sort of fresh perspective. As in, did I get that? Would I get that? And it's a great beer, and today I'd still give it a 4. I think it's fantastic, and good to sort of drink it with you because you've given me that new little perspective, and there is a fruitiness there I wasn't getting the first time for sure. There is, um,
Almost that raspberry, like as you say.
yeah, that Palmer Violet as you were getting the first time around. Um, and it is, it just goes to show it's a deep, it's complex, it's interesting, and such a nice change from all of the pales that are going on at the moment. Such a
Yeah.
nice.
There's only so many ippers, dippers, tippers, and neepers that you can get through before you just think, do you know what? Let me go for something a little bit more. I mean, I think dark beers, we use the app Untapped and we talk about it a lot. I think dark beers tend to get higher scores because dark beers tend to be, I don't know why, but I think it's like your classic beer drinkers think there's more to dark beers. And in some ways I'd agree and say, generally, if you're not a huge beer guy, you'll enjoy an IPA, but you might not enjoy a stout or a porter because there's more, there is a bit more complexity to it. There is a bit more going on. It's more of an acquired taste. So I think fans of all beer tend to rate the darker beers more.
I don't know. I think that generally, if you don't like a dark beer, if you're not somebody who drinks dark beers, then you will just never go to a dark beer anyway. So
Yeah.
so they almost do better by having people who wouldn't drink them not drink them. Whereas if you're a stout or porter drinker, if you drink dark beers, then because I think you have a slightly different palate. It's not, I'm not saying more discerning, but in the same way that if you don't like blue cheese, then you'd never order a dish with blue cheese in it. But yet you like blue cheese and you love blue cheese.
Sure.
And if you eat mild cheddar and then you try blue cheese, it's like, wow, that's awful. I really don't like it.
Okay, so using that as the same spectrum, if you like blue cheese and you're really going to appreciate the different types of blue, right? But then any cheese below that, because that's obviously like the strongest flavor, any cheese below that, you then find the complexities of those cheese, and you can go from zero mildest all the way up to the strongest cheese, and still appreciate the flavors. I think it's maybe something the same in beer, where it's like, if you're used to a lager and you think that the most standard of IPA is quite a hoppy beer, then like that's kind of your range, that's your threshold. But then you've got your pale ales, your gold ales, your IPAs, your dippers, your tippers, your neepers, your West Coasts, and then you kind of go up and up and up in these different complexities of beer. Not in that order, obviously, but you know, you kind of work your way to like the dark. And anyways, in my opinion, I think the dark beers are kind of like, if you like dark beers, you probably can appreciate any beer that's lighter down to lager level.
I think that if you like the full spectrum of beer, as it were, and you like darker beers as well, then you can drink lighter beers, pale beers. Some don't. You know, I know some guys who are just like 1,000 porters, which is great. And obviously the guys.
Same with sour beers are a funny one in that respect as well, I think, because people that drink sours, it's like, I mean, I love a good sour, but I definitely have to be in the right mind frame to go for a sour. I wouldn't normally go out and order a sour, but I know people that only drink sours. And like you, I know people that very much stick to the dark beers, and you know, that's kind of where they're comfortable.
Yeah. I still don't think that a lot of pale ale drinkers, a lot of people who drink IPAs, I just still think there's a huge barrier. I think there's a huge wedge for them for drinking the darker beers, for drinking the stouts and the porters. And then they just don't. But what that does mean is that the people who like the stouts and porters are the guys checking in on Untapped. And so the offset is huge. You know, the offset's huge because you've still got the people who aren't necessarily strict ale IPA drinkers. That's why they get a lot more check-ins, and that's why they are much more favoured by pubs, bars, and restaurants.
Sure. And I wonder how does this one rate across the board, just an average? Let me have a look and see how many check-ins, because this will be interesting to see. 15,000 check-ins, so it's obviously had a lot of check-ins at 379. So, and for that many check-ins, that's quite high. Now, to me, that sort of says instantly that there's Brewdog fans that probably picked this up that aren't particularly into dark beers, that have gone, like, not really my favorite Brewdog because they're such fans of the brewery, but maybe they're not into their dark beers or their porters or whatever, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you say for those people that are just getting into beer now, congratulations, well done for finding your way. If they're kind of in the IPA realm, they've drunk their citrusy beers, whatever, and now they kind of want to get into stouts, darker beers generally, would you say this is a good beer to jump in?
No, not really, no. There's quite a lot going on here. And I think it's a bit thicker and a bit richer. And the issue is that if you like drinking pale ales, there's enough out there for you. There's enough out there. Like, just keep spreading your wings and keep growing and keep going, and like, best of luck to you. But if you do get to a point where you're like, I'm going to try a darker beer, don't think it's all a world of Guinness and an awful dishwater stout, because it isn't.
Not to say that Guinness is awful, by the way.
No, sorry, that was a Guinness.
And then, yeah, also, right. Other awful beers are.
I'll put the punctuation of beer on the bottom here. There'll be a southern translation for the northerners, just. And the world of stouts and world of porters is really interesting at the moment. It's absolutely fascinating. And my advice would be, if you are a pale ale drinker, if you're an IPA drinker, and you want to try some darker beers, do have a little go at some porters. I mean,
Mhm.
Titanic One Porter is absolutely beautiful. It's widely available. Keith and the guys up at Titanic there in lovely Burslem done a fantastic job of making a really approachable, slightly sweet, slightly bitter, well balanced porter. I mean, it's not going to set the world on fire by any means. It's won some fantastic awards. Absolutely wonderful beer.
It's got
Super,
its accolades, and it's well worth it as well.
super drinkable. That's the sort of thing to have a look at, you know. And it's slightly interesting, really, really nice, little delicate porter. Have a little go on that. See what you think. You never know. It might be your first step. I absolutely hated for years and years and years blue cheese. Hated it. It was way too strong. It was way too much. Palate developed and your palate moves on. And I genuinely think that if you're a beer drinker who loves your IPAs, you're not necessarily going to love an imperial stout. You're not,
Yeah,
because it's like, you know, trying to drink whiskey after you've
way
had your
more.
water.
Yeah, that's right. It's way more bitter. It's way,
It doesn't.
you know.
It just doesn't make any sense. But there are some lovely porters out there. There are some lovely porters, and it's modern. You know, Greg, you're bloody an advocate of the porter at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, when I think for me, it's almost, and it probably sounds a bit crazy. It's almost a seasonal thing. So when it gets to the winter, I quite like really slow sipping on a darker beer. Let the beer warm up just a little bit. Let the flavors kind of come together. It's a bit more complex. You know, you've got a lot more of the kind of, a lot of the time you get the spices, the sweetness, the balance, and it kind of has that depth of flavor where you can sit on a really cold winter's day, and as far
Have
as
you still got that much left, by the way?
have you emptied your can?
I thought I was the one doing all the talking.
Oh, I mean, you know, when I say about sipping slowly on a stout, that's all right.
I'm not upset. No, I'm not upset. I'm just really disappointed. Don't chug it. Don't chug it.
Listen, I mean, as far as it goes, as a 7% stout, I'd say that this is, you know, very well balanced. I really like the s'more flavor. It kind of takes you back to being younger, eating a dessert. It's really nice. It's really sweet. It's got very good depth, and it's complex. So I think you can sip this one away, and it kind of transforms as it goes. You know, as you get further down the glass, you start to feel different things. You know, and I definitely think with stouts, especially as they start to warm up a little bit, I always keep them in the fridge, pop them open, and then as I'm going through a can, that's why I drink them slow, because as you get to the second half of the glass, you end up with this, you know, it's just the flavors get more and more complex as you go.
Yeah.
And this is no exception. It's great. It's a great beer. I mean, Brewdog have done very well here. As I said, I didn't really want to like it. As crazy as that sounds, I didn't want to like it, but I do. I like it a lot. I think it's a solid 4 for me.
Really?
On Untapped, I'll definitely be giving it a solid 4 for sure.
Okay, that's cool. So, on the start of October, I checked it into Untapped, and I said deep and dark with white fluff, sweet nose with big marshmallows. There's a bit of chocolate, coffee, and vanilla, but it's a glass of pour s'more, marshmallow and biscuit straight off the campfire, and
Pour s'more.
Pour s'more, and having had it 4 months on again, it still rings true to me. It's an absolute little banger, and I hope that come summertime, it's one of those like last beer of the night type jobs. You know, you have a few little pails, a lipper and pop in a layer cake. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Cracker.
It's one to, I would say to the guys that are watching, I'd say this is one to have if you're around a campfire, pop open a layer cake and it'll give you that really nice, you know, s'more flavor, 7%. So after you finish, you'll feel nice and jolly, ready to tell those campfire stories. And it's a great winter beer, I'd say.
Banging. Enjoy, fellas.
There are some customs that are very enjoyable.
Let's not get all riled up about this.
An occasional drink never hurt anyone.
Come on, fill up.
A drink in the evening is just about the best thing I know of.
So with that being said,
Cheers, brother.